I have a furnace here where this is a callback. Originally, this exhaust motor started going bad. The bearings were going bad, so it started losing RPMs, and then we were getting some flame rollout, which you can see right there on the firewall, the soot on the side, and a general just stink on the exhaust. So I swapped out the fan, which was bad, but about a month later we're getting trips on the flame rollout switch. So what's happening is the heat exchanger got clogged up because of the lack of enough oxygen. You're running too rich. On this furnace, the exhaust was starting to get stinky, and that's the clue that the heat exchanger is clogging up. Normally on the exhaust, it should have hardly any odor at all. Propane will have a slight propane smell, but this is natural gas, and it was actually smelling like a propane furnace. Now when it gets really clogged, just one breath is pretty deadly on that exhaust, so you do want to be careful. If it smells like it's gonna kill you in 1 second, it's very clogged, and it's basically the furnace is destroying itself right away. It's pretty easy to pull it apart and actually clean the secondary heat exchanger. Pull off the fan, take off all the screws on the header plate, pull the header plate, and then just go after it with some soap and water. So I'll show that next. So the swirlers are cleaned just using soap and water, and then we're just doing a brush. And they actually had pieces that were blocking the airflow. It had pieces of soot on there. And it just needs to be smooth. It doesn't have to be white. It's just got to be smooth to keep turbulence down, because all that turbulence adds up to reduce the airflow. Cleaning the secondary heat exchanger tubes. On this furnace, it's easy to put a gutter here to catch the water, and then I'm just basically blasting each tube. After removing the gas swirls, I got a clean shot where I was able to clean all the tubes with the water hose, drain into the bucket, and the buckets actually started getting clean water. It was really nasty at first. I didn't video because water was splashing everywhere, and then I got a towel underneath here catching the water that I miss. So the secondary heat exchanger is clean. I want to show when they slide back in, this tab, you want to have it grab the end of the pipe on the back side, because you don't want these coming forward and then getting sucked into the fan and then causing the fan to shut down. So it slides in just like so. Has a little bit of friction, but it does slide. And Goodman stuff's pretty easy to work on. And then once it grabs the back, you'll feel it. Yeah, hear that click, and feel how it's grabbing, so it doesn't want to slide forward. And when I pulled these out, I just twisted them and pulled to get them out, and then bend the tab. And bending the tab down is good. That way the water can drip downwards on these tabs. All the swirlers are put in, heat exchangers cleaned. This one has a rubber gasket, and it's important that it doesn't leak, especially on the bottom. Otherwise it's just going to drip condensate, start rusting out the furnace. So I'm going to add some silicone just to the bottom. The top's going to be fine because it's not going to leak water on the top. Little tip, if you want your silicone to last, put a wire nut on it as the seal. It can last for months like that. So, and then I'm just going to spread it out thin. A little bit of a seal. You can see the flame is not touching the walls. It's getting sucked in completely. After cleaning the heat exchanger, I got a nice clean exhaust now. You can barely smell any odor at all, just very slight odor, and that's complete combustion. Not all secondary heat exchangers can be cleaned. This is a carrier. They actually did a bulletin on these so the secondary is under warranty, but it's clogged up, and the way it's constructed, it's factory welded plastic, and it doesn't have the turbulators. So in this one you just have to change the furnace or change the heat exchanger itself. But I'll pull it apart and I'll show you what it looks like on the inside. On this carrier secondary heat exchanger, here's a clean one. Now it is magnetic, but it's somewhat stainless. You can still have stainless that's magnetic. And then here's the clogged one. So you can see it looks like more rust rather than soot. The pieces are flaking off. You can see they stick to the magnet. So on these carrier type heat exchangers, you're not going to be cleaning those because it's not a soot that clogged up, it's an actual rust where the rust blocked it out. I mean, if you want to pull the whole heat exchanger, you might be able to clean it that way, but if you're pulling it, you might as well just replace it, because like I said, they did a bulletin where these are under warranty anyway. So that's how you clean the secondary heat exchanger on a furnace. Hope you like watching the video. Thanks for watching.